Hello, I'm Kristen Nolte. I'm from Home Away. So moving forward, everyone's going to stay in great homes across the world instead of, I won't mention Airbnb. Oh, I just did. Anyway, I am here to talk to you. I am a marketer. So how many people are involved in marketing in this room? Oh, quite a few. How many people get really annoyed with marketers coming to their desks or their cubicles or their offices and asking for really crazy, bizarre things that cannot actually happen? Yeah, I'm one of those people. So today what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about is how we're getting better and smarter in marketing, and actually the technology that's making that possible today is exactly the technology that many of you guys are working on in this world today. Clicker, is there a... I think there's supposed to be a clicker. Sorry, guys. This is what you get for being the first one up after a break. You're doing great. All right. Woo! Thank you. Okay, so we were a little inspired by what's going on in the music industry right now from a marketing perspective. And what it is when you think about the number of variables that are available from a music perspective, and we compared both Spotify and Pandora, and it wasn't just the songs, and it wasn't just the genre. It was actually these wonderful little aspects of attributes of those songs that allow people to discover music that they wouldn't normally have discovered. And it gets down to some very, very specific, what we call genes, and building this overall data capture mechanism of looking at everything from the type, the beats, the gender, the groove, the distortion, the back vocals. And I was thinking to myself, geez, what in the world can they do with music? Why the hell do they think I am an AARP candidate, and why do they think I am a straight woman? So from a marketing perspective, how many of you guys have been falsely identified based on some other random basic demographic area that is completely not who you are? Yes? And how quickly do you get turned off by that particular company or brand? Yes, right? I can't tell you. By the way, I'm a lesbian. I failed to mention that when I first got started. I was probably going to warm you guys up a little bit. Been with my wife for 17 years. So basically, we got together when I was 8. And have had a very wonderful relationship ever since. But no, so I have been targeted so many different ways, and most of the time, 90% of the time, it is wrong. It is incorrect. HRC is probably the only company that right now targets me correctly, and it's because they're looking at just basic things. So imagine a world when you started thinking about how you market to customers, that you're not looking at just the outer exposure, my income, do I have kids or not, which, by the way, that's another indication that people get wrong most of the time. But they start looking at the very specific details of what you do. So this was the initiative that we took on from Home Away. When I first started as running marketing for them, we were only interested in doing these very generic things, usually with a nuclear family that looks something like this, and talking about our homes in a really generic way when it came to what people do on vacation. We're moving into something that is called perfect match. And perfect match would not be possible without technology. It would not be possible without artificial intelligence, and it would not be possible without machine learning. Why? Because we have a whole group, as you can see, of different types of people that have different needs when they vacation. Maybe they want to relax. Maybe they want to spend time with friends. Maybe they're a non-traditional family. Maybe they require some different needs. Maybe they have people with disabilities. These are things that you wouldn't capture when you're being generic. And we are ultimately trying to create a perfect match. And there's a slew of attributes that right now are being really used around both of our homes as well as how we look at customers. So who are those travelers? Families have changed. When people say that they're targeting the traditional married couple, male, female, 2.4 people, they go after a certain conversation, a certain content. We all know now families take many different sizes and shapes, And we want to accommodate for each little nuance of information that we can collect about them. That could be where they like to travel. That could be what they're associated with. What nonprofits do they actually think about? Because every family is going to be a little bit different. Groups, same thing. How many people went to a gay and lesbian wedding this year? So the great thing about this is there's a lot of weddings to be had. I cannot tell you how many gifts I have given in the last 2 years, but it's a great problem to have. Groups now take a different thing. A lot of people do destination weddings. They're different types of individuals that we have to talk to in a unique way. Pet lovers, lesbians, come on. Dogs. Who has a dog? I mean, come on. I have 3, and my wife is crazy. She's probably going to have 5 by the time I get home. Thanks to Hurricane Harvey, we're stocking up. And then road trippers. It's like people that get out, they want to explore different things. Sometimes that's cities, sometimes that's a place in the middle of nowhere. Being able to talk to them in a different way. And I'm going to skip through some of this because I know I've got 4 minutes left. So now that we know that there's different attributes inside of an individual and a household and the type that they're living in, it requires these very micro segmentations. And we're going to get those through attributes. And we're going to pick those up through third parties. We're going to pick those up through Google and some different ways that they're able to attract different folks. And we're picking those up through Facebook. And taking that information and consolidating it together allows us to micro-target inside of each one of those very generic different types of customers. This is our genome that we're building. This is something I'm sure all of you are starting to take a look at in terms of how do we combine both the data science and the data mining using third-party data, using first-party data, understanding the product and how those connection points happen. And then this is really our overall graph that I'll skip to because I want to show you some fun stuff. These are all the different attributes. So now that we know our customer, how do we make that match to the actual property? And that's looking at all kinds of different attributes, whether it's pulling information out of videos, inquiries, photos, what kind of competitive data do we have? All of these different attributes go into our overall OmniGraph. So one thing that's relatively new is who has used Google Vision API? A few of you? First, I'm going to let you look at this picture, and you can consume it for a good 15 seconds. No, that's not really true. I'm going to give you 5. All right. So what did you see? What are some of the images that capture your attention? Who would say the very first thing they would say is this a picture of tennis court? Yep, that's what I said. Actually, when we ran it through a Google Vision API, what came back is some very interesting things. It pulled out a swimming pool. It pulled out that it was leisure. It had, in some other images, there was a kitchen capture that it pulled out. But one thing, did you see water in that image? You guys are so good. I actually thought this was a blue tennis court on the back end. There's actually water there, and it's amazing how technical these things can be. So even when our customers don't give us information about properties and attributes, we can pull them out for them. And we can pull it out through images such as this. And then if we also look at how we're looking at, oh, by the way, it can also pull in text images inside of a photo. And that could tell you something about this individual. What it also does is it pulls in, let's see if I can get to this, our ability to map. So what we've done is we've taken the Google Vision API, it's given us some characteristics, and then we've tried to match those characteristics to things that are a little less easy to map to. Something that this is romantic, this is peaceful, this is something that we want to call out. So we've used both descriptions to pull in information from that from a text mining perspective, but ultimately, what we're trying to get to is I'm off the grid, I'm retreat, I'm peaceful, etc. These are some of the words that actually were pulled out either through descriptions or through image tracking themselves. And I'll kind of skip through this. And ultimately, we came back with images that can map directly to some of these words. And some of the words that were summarized around Sunset, Horizon, Wildfire, Deer, rural area, these things actually became under a peaceful and chill description. So now when I talk to someone, I can tie an image to a segment, and I can align on an actual ultimate goal of what that will bring to life. Technology made this happen. We would never have been able to do this at this level and granularity. And I guarantee we're now going to talk to families, hopefully families like mine, in a relevant way. We're going to attach things to us that matter, maybe that fence, that dog, something that really brings our family together. And it's no longer going to be that fly-by-night, please don't hit me with an AARP, I'm really not that old yet, getting close, but not there. And we can really make a difference. So thank you guys for what you're doing in the marketing space, because you're making my life a lot easier and honestly a lot more fun. And before I get off the stage, I'm going to do a selfish plug. Home Away is in Austin, Texas. For those of you who have been to Austin, Texas, it is not like Red, Texas. It is like this little mecca in the middle of a big red state, and it's an awesome place to be. We are hiring, we value diversity, not just from the perspective of numbers on a chart, because we have seen how diversity actually makes a significant difference in our delivery. So come out there. If you're interested, please drop a resume. I'll take you around ACL if anyone wants to go. I really appreciate you guys letting us be part of this. We're super excited.